This is actually Evans. I'm going to be interviewing her today about her experience here at FHSU for my video process recording project. Ashley, how long have you been a student here at Fort Hays State?
I am a freshman this year, so a little bit over a semester.
Okay. What were some of the factors that went into you deciding on Fort Hays State as your university?
Well, I really had not decided, but I knew somebody that was going here, and I wanted to be not far away from home, but far enough to still go home. And my brother was going to be gone a lot, so I'd still be the closest, family kid. And I also didn't think I was going to be dating my boyfriend still at the time, so that one really was not a good factor.
Okay, so you were placing a lot of importance on relationships?
I'm really into family and relationships and everything like that. That's really important to me.
Okay. Within your transition for your first semester here at Fort Hays State University, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most satisfactory, how would you rate your first semester?
My first semester, well, the beginning of the first semester was more like a 4 or 5, but it kind of changes later on with my whole roommate and teachers.
Okay. Do you feel like Fort Hays State took the time to work with you and prepare you for those kind of issues with roommates? And
I honestly don't think that the roommate thing, when we filled out to live in the dorms, I don't feel like that really helped, because I got put in with a roommate that we had nothing in common, so there was a lot of miscommunications there. But for the most part, I think after my second roommate, being around my learning community, it kind of helped me pick my new roommate.
okay, so would you list those as some of the strengths that you were able to apply towards your?
I would say they're more weaknesses with the whole roommate, and that was a bad deal and kind of put a lot of stress on me in my first semester. But after I kind of got to know my roommate now, it kind of helped out, and I also knew a couple other girls on our floor, so it kind of helped with friendships.
Okay, so once again, just getting those relationships intact and having that support system.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How was your relationships with your instructors and your advisor during that time?
It was really hard, because going from teachers that are always willing to help, Hayes is pretty good about that, but I also got some teachers that I would never recommend somebody to take again. I found some difficulties with that. But my advisors were a lot of help, and I've had 2 advisors so far, and both of them are still willing to help me, and I still am in contact with my first advisor.
Okay, so that's something that you could consider a strength then?
Yes.
Okay. And you said this was during your first semester?
Yes, it was first semester, and then I switched my advisors at the end of last semester.
Okay. Do you feel like the advisor you have right now is helpful? Do you feel like that communication is there?
Yeah, she is always willing to help me. I can email her at any time or just stop by her office, and she's always willing to help or talk about my professors and any problems I have with them in my classes.
Okay. So you've had very strong relationships with your advisors, but there was some difficulty with a couple of your instructors?
Yeah, there was, one of my teachers now, she barely teaches us anything. She is very difficult to understand, which is another thing that I've had to overcome coming to college. And I feel like she mixes stuff up between different classes, so that's more difficult. And I try to go in and meet with her, and she jokes around with other people instead in her office while we sit outside. And it was just really frustrating, because I felt like it was very disrespectful, and anytime I talked, she just cut me off. So I feel like there's no relationship there, and so that's kind of a weakness.
Okay. And was this with the class that you previously took, or is this a current class?
This is a current class. A previous class, I had had to get out of one of them because there was just too much stress on me with the teacher and everything, which my advisor helped me with that. And then a different, like my other class, I just kind of overcame it and kind of just put everything aside and just kind of went with what she said.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds like a very frustrating situation that you've had to deal with those instructors, like a lack of professionalism on their part.
Yeah, it was really hard for me, and I thought this is like what college is about and that I don't want to be in college anymore, but people told me that that's really not how it should go for a freshman, so it kind of made me feel a little bit better, but kind of worse that I put up with all this my first semester.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an unfortunate situation, and I'm sorry to hear that you had to deal with that in your first semester.
My second roommate's a lot better with that. We kind of help each other out with everything, but we don't really get out a lot because we kind of keep in close because we lost one of our closest friends last semester, so that was kind of difficult.
With your current roommate, are you able to get her help with your schoolwork, and do you feel like she's a good support for that aspect?
It's kind of funny because our friend last semester wanted to take a class all together, and so we all decided to take a Modern World Civ class together, and the only time that she could do it was at 8:30 in the morning, and then she left, and so me and my roommate are stuck waking up at 8:30 in the morning, so it's kind of like we have to like force each other up and to go to class and to do homework, and we can study together and work on stuff together, so it's a lot better having somebody like that's close to you in the class with you.
Yeah. It sounds like a good bonding experience.
Yep.
Okay. So with your rating earlier with the 4 or 5, was that with the first semester?
Yeah, that was my first semester when I had my roommate problems and a lot more of my teacher problems.
Okay. What would you rate this current semester?
The current semester, I'd probably rate it about like a 7.5, only because like my roommates I got a way better one and I actually enjoy it now, but I also get homesick, so I want to go home, so it's not going to be like way high because I don't really experience all of the college life. I would say I don't really party or anything, so I kind of just stay in my dorm room and watch Netflix. So that passes time and kind of relaxes me.
Okay. So with that time that you're staying in and watching Netflix, do you feel like you would like to be out partying, or do you feel like you'd rather be at home with your family?
Well, my brother's kind of more of the party type, and after his experiences and hearing his experiences, I'm kind of glad I don't go out and party and I'm all reckless and all that stuff. Being in my room kind of makes me focus more on school and like my work and homework. But I also kind of get like not lonely because we don't really get along with people on our floor, or we get along with some of them, but not like right next door to us. And so it causes us to actually do like homework and schoolwork and have bonding time together and all that. But I would like to be home. I kind of want to go home next semester.
Okay. Are there any factors that you feel that you could focus on to increase the rating that you have currently for Fort Hays State and maybe not have those feelings of wanting to go home?
Maybe if it was closer to home and not, because I'm from Junction City, and so it's a little over 2 hours away, and so I feel like if it was closer it wouldn't be such a big deal because I wouldn't feel so much distant, and like driving and all that, I would probably want to stay here more. But other than that, I feel like maybe I like everything else about the campus, like the class sizes and all that, like that's great. It's just more of my surroundings, I guess, as in some of the people that go here. Most of them are pretty nice and like welcoming, but there are just some people in our hall that just don't go to class, and it just frustrates me because we actually like try and like go to classes and care about stuff, and yet they're out partying and coming back drunk and thrown up, and it's just, it kind of ruins the college experience for my part.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a distraction being around those kind of people.
It really is.
If you were able to move from the dorm setting into maybe an apartment with someone that you've constructed a relationship and a rapport with, do you feel like it would be something that would make you consider staying at Fort Hayes for next semester?
I think it would really help because being in the dorms, it really can, like, you can't have everything that you had at home. Like, you're sharing a room with somebody, like, there's a lot of changes, and it's really, like, overwhelming and everything at first, and sometimes I wish I still had, like, a pet to, like, be with and all that stuff, or, like, to even, like, go out and not have to hear, like, everybody else coming back, because you can hear everything in the dorms, and it's really annoying. Like, you have no privacy, and when it's supposed to be, like, quiet and you're sleeping, you hear people coming in and slamming doors, and it's just terrible. I think it would be a lot better to, like, live in a house or an apartment somewhere else off campus, maybe, or even still on campus, but just not so confined.
Yeah. With some of those distractions that you've listed, like staying at the dorms, do you feel like maybe within McMidas that they could be more strict with rules that could maybe?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that happen just kind of like irks me, like all the fire alarms and like people that just aren't responsible. They don't take college seriously, and it just kind of really annoys me. I don't think it's really on the strictness, because you can only be so strict without like being like nobody wants to be here.
Yeah.
But I think they could also like change stuff in the dorms, like the food. The food is terrible, which I've had even more problems with that. And, yeah, so it's just bad.
Okay. So within
But the food, like, it's been, I don't know, it's really complicated because of course, like, I'm paying for the food, and so you, like, want to eat, but the food's not very good, like, it's not clean down there. I got an apple today, and it was all waxy and made my hands feel gross, and I'm not going to want to eat that, and the food's made me sick here, and it's just, and so now I have problems with my stomach, and so it's just not a great experience. I think living off campus would be a lot better.
Yeah, it does sound like those things that you listed would make for a upsetting experience. So with what we've talked about so far, would you say that relationships, both family and friendship, and education and placing focus on those things are what drives you and motivates you?
Yeah, I'd say because I stress about everything, and so family is kind of like my backup, and like friends are there to support me, and I don't want to not go somewhere in life because you have to have an education pretty much for everything now, and so it kind of like pushes me along, but also stresses me out just thinking about the future. And
looking towards the future, what are some things that you feel that you could do to make the remainder of your freshman experience a good one?
We've actually tried to get like more involved with like St. Jude and like all that stuff, and so it kind of like helps getting out of the dorm more. And we also go out and eat now, and we're going to the gym, and so it kind of like gives your mind a different place to go other than Netflix or homework or studying or worrying about something else that you can't control.
Yeah, doing some of those things that you can find to take a breather and
To relax.
reset. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for your time today, Ashley, and I appreciate you sharing with me.
Yeah, no problem.